Enjoy your favorite movies and shows with our new level of sounds.
So here we are for yet another episode of Fours and Sixes, and this time it is about the T20 World Cup, but it's the group stages are over, the Super 8s are confirmed, India, Afghanistan, Australia and Bangladesh in one group, whereas West Indies, England, South Africa and USA are the other teams in the other Super 8 stages groups. India, of course, will start their Super 8 campaign on Thursday against Afghanistan in Barbados. And in this particular episode of Fours and Sixes, myself, Gomesh, and Kalyani Mangale, we will be previewing that particular match and what kind of combinations India will be playing, what to expect from Afghanistan. Will there be any changes in the batting order, or will they play an extra spinner, and a lot more. So, without any further ado, Kalyani, your first thoughts on what to expect from this campaign and what India would be doing, in the lead up to. They've been out of action for a while. The previous match was rained out. What do you expect them when they walk onto the field in Barbados on Thursday morning?
So we have to keep in mind that whatever so far India has won 3 matches, all of them happened at the same venue, and when the 4th match came, that was against Canada in Florida, it rained out, there was no chance of any. So they have not played competitive cricket, I would say, in a week. The last match came, if I'm not wrong, against USA. But the thing about those 3 matches that happened in USA is that none of it was absolute cakewalk for them. There was a bit up and down, and I think those all 3 wins that were there, they were hard earned wins, and they had to change their plans, they had to change their tactics, and I think those hard earned wins, especially in a long tournament like this early, those hard earned wins came for India. So I think it has prepared them really well for all the scenarios. It's like a checklist of what can go wrong, and then they have won in those situations. The match against Canada, which was their last group stage match in Lauderhill in Florida, if that match would have gone through, there would have been no such big gap between their fixtures. But they're playing at the international level. That cannot be I believe will not be an issue from the Indian side. But looking at their opponents who have played in West Indies throughout the entire group stage, and they had a pretty decent run in the first 3 matches where they were dominant against New Zealand to start with, but when the time came against playing against the host, well, it was not that easy for them, and it was in the final group stage match. They did lose against West Indies by pretty big margin. So these 2 teams, they're coming from a different kind of way, making it to the Super 8s. So especially for India, I do believe that those hard-earned wins in New York will definitely come in handy the moment Super 8 starts. But I want to ask you something very particular about the Indian team, is that the openers, I mean, I will not say Rohit has struggled per se, but Virat Kohli is absolutely has struggled throughout the World Cup, given how prolific run scorer he was in the IPL, and it has not worked for him. But Afghanistan spinners, and they have plenty of them, and very successful against the batters of India. So how are you looking at that?
I think yes, Virat has gotten out early. He has not had a good score so far, but I don't think you can attribute that much to form, especially in this format, because in the lead up to the World Cup, the conversation about Virat has been about him not being proactive, him not going for shots in the power play, and well, that's what he tried, and it didn't work. So I don't think you can have it both ways at some level, and it's probably too early to jump the gun against Kohli. We'll have to wait and see in the Super 8 stages, but India will need Kohli to score some runs, irrespective of the opponents, especially in the coming days. And the first step is against Afghanistan. Not just the spinners, it's also about there is no Mujibur Rahman, so Nabi will probably bowl in the power play, and then there is Rashid, there is Noor, but also Faruqi is there. He's been the best seamer so far in this
Yes.
World Cup, the leading wicket taker. So both of them will be testing not just Kohli but also Rohit Sharma. But again, I don't think India should be changing their approach. They should keep the same proactive approach in the power play as it is. If it comes off, it comes off. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. They have the backup in the middle order to catch up. And you talked about the West Indies game, Nicholas Pooran, how he took on the spinners, and scored almost a century. And that is exactly the role they expect Shivam Dube to play in the coming matches, especially in West Indies against the spinners. Him and Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, the three hold the core. And let's not forget Hardik Pandya. For all his flaws against pace, he's an excellent hitter of spin as well.
Yep.
So they have the core in the middle order to be proactive up front, to be okay with some early wickets even against Afghanistan as well. I will really not be surprised if Kohli comes out and goes for those log sweeps as we saw in the IPL against Afghanistan. But the key for India in this leg going forward would be the middle order, especially someone like Shivam Dube. He has not scored runs so far, but these three matches will be crucial in seeing whether India wins or whether he retains his place or someone like Sanju Samson comes in. But again, that's just part of the batting department, and the bowling also will see a change because India have played four seamers throughout in New York, and Rohit and the selector Ajit Agarkar, both of them said that they wanted four spinners for a reason in this particular conditions. Rohit was there last year during the Test series in West Indies as well. So, do you think someone like Kuldeep Yadav will probably come into place in place of Siraj or Ashwin because they already have two left-arm spinners who also provide a bit of batting and take the ball away from the right-hander.
Yep.
So in that case, Kuldeep is the one with a little bit of variety, even though Chahal is again taking the ball away from the right-hander.
So the spin department leading into the World Cup, if it was anything, the indication from the selectors was about that it's going to be a balanced side, no matter how other players have performed in IPL or at the other levels. The balance was something that they were looking for, and I think with the inclusion of the likes of Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal, they did get that kind of balance. And going into these conditions which are relatively more spin friendly than what New York was, someone will have to make a way for Kuldeep Yadav because he's such a good spinner at the ball that to miss him out of the playing 11 will probably not be good for India's chances. And in that thing, I think given how Arshdeep has himself gone above and beyond with his bowling in New York, and it was probably imagined like he'll be a second fiddle to Bumrah, but they have been on the similar level, both of them, and have been really difficult to play against. So I think again, the decision, whatever happened in New York, were condition based. So moving forward, whether both Kuldeep and Chahal play or not, it will be dependent on what kind of conditions are available there. But the important thing is for India is that the one person that needs to fire, and has not happened so far, even though everyone around him has kind of performed, whether it's Hardik Pandya, who had a really average, we can say, IPL, and he came back with wickets against Pakistan. Someone like Ravindra Jadeja, well, he had not had that much of a luck in this tournament. So do you think he still will have his spot once the Super 8 start, or do you think he has done enough in the past to know that he is someone who can perform when needed the most?
I think more than not performing, it's about the Indian team not using him.
Yeah.
That's probably the way to put it, especially with the ball because of the conditions in New York. But I guess in West Indies, where there will be a little bit of help for the spinners, that's where Jadeja become all the more dangerous, as we have often seen in the IPL as well.
Sure.
When there is little assistance, that's when his subtle variations, his arm ball, it becomes all the more. He makes the most of the conditions that's available in front of him, and for India to dominate from here on, they will need Jadeja the bowler, Jadeja the batter, not so much. If it comes to that, then you know that India is in trouble.
Yeah.
Especially in this format, it's not the same as IPL. He's struggled in this format with the bat, and Akshar is probably a better option with the bat in this particular format. But with the ball, Jadeja is still a superior bowler. He just needs that little bit of assistance, and he'll be all over the opponents. He'll be putting the stranglehold, not letting any player, any team dominate the proceedings, which is why I feel they'll probably pick someone like Kuldeep rather than Chahal, because otherwise it'll be three similar kind of bowlers, even though they don't have an off spinner, so it's the only option they have is Kuldeep. Yes, Jadeja will be key, but at the same time we also have to talk about Afghanistan, who have been brilliant so far. But again, the question comes to whether Gurbaz and Zardan will be able to continue the good work they have done against Arshdeep Singh and Jasprit Bumrah up front, in the power play. And then comes the likes of Omazai and then Rashid and Nami and all that. But it's the top two who have set the tone so far, and they will need both of them to continue the good work they have done against India as well, and even more so against India, because they have three matches, and a win against India will do a lot of good in their chances in qualifying for the semi-finals, because the other two teams in this group are Bangladesh and Australia. They need the win, especially after the result against West Indies. Though net run rate will not have a play in ensuring who is going to the semi-finals, all the more reason for Afghanistan to put it behind and start fresh and put a best foot forward against India.
Absolutely, and speaking about Afghanistan, what a story! They kind of missed out on by whiskers. The match against Australia was there for taking for them to make it to the semi-finals of the ODI World Cup in 2023 in India. But now again they outclassed New Zealand, and I think at that moment it was kind of, we could predict that okay, Afghanistan are going to be in the Super 8s, but the real challenges actually started for them. And the match against West Indies, where the host went on to score 200 plus runs, I think that's the biggest reality check they could have gotten, and it's not easy, but Afghanistan have done it in the past, so we'll see how things go from here on. India, the Super 8s for India start with the fixture against Afghanistan on Thursday. So regarding that and every other update you will get from us at the New Indian Express. Thank you so much for watching 4s and 6s.